For those of you in Canada, it is it is Remembrance Day, of course, November 11th. And in the US, you are considering Veterans Day. So, very similar theme, paying homage and respect to those who fought very hard. Many of you probably have relatives still at this point, might be out celebrating and taking part in some of the festivities being celebrated today. So if you are watching this on a recorded basis, this is not ending today. Today we are talking about early Black Friday. So if you haven't been watching your in basket or any of the posts on the VIP or the main page, there is a huge sale going on with Life Pro right now. And there's so many things on sale that I actually had to take a whole bunch of notes last night because it really depends on what you're looking for. Life Pro's lineup of self-care tools has gotten so expansive. They're in so many different lines now that there's lots of things that you may not even be aware that they offer as self-care tools. Fitness for sure. Many of you come to Life Pro looking to improve your overall fitness goals. And a vibration plate, which is my first. I was going to talk about some of my faves today. And I wanted to make sure that anything I was talking about today was available during the sale. So for those of you who are not in the know, there is a 30% off sale going on with Life Pro right now. And there is also a free gift. Now, what I caution a lot of you, I'm getting lots of questions this week about should I buy now? Is there going to be a better deal? To be honest, in my experience, this is my third or fourth season with Life Pro. And what I would suggest, if there's something that you've been considering, you've been looking at it for a long time, now would probably be the time from a standpoint to really it the decision on and decide to go purchase it, and it's out of. And I know that has happened with a few of you. I apologize if there be the situation. I would like to invite anyone who is joining me today to let me know if you can see and hear me. And if you have any questions, certainly I am here to answer those. Doesn't necessarily mean it has to be about the products I'm talking about today. So I've just dropped the sale link in the conversation window here. And if there's anything specific that you're looking at, feel free to blast me. The first product I'm going to talk about is the ever popular Rumblex Plus vibration plate. If you go to Life Pro's direct site on their main page in the US, this is one of the deals that comes up. And when you go into the sale link that I provided you there, you're going to see a whole bunch of different products come up. And Life Pro, as I said, has so many different tools to aid in your health and your fitness goals. Anything from infrared and red light therapies to fitness accessories to vibration plates. So today I have narrowed it down to three. Again, the first being the vibration plate. If you're not using a vibration plate, if it's something that you've been on the fence about, I did a post earlier in the group this week about selecting the best vibration plate. And I'm just going to shake while we talk. The best vibration plate is the one that's going to work best with what goals you have in mind, with the what it is that you're trying to accomplish. And sometimes the little compact, cute, under the desk model is not going to be as well served for certain things like fitness, where maybe you're adding some weights or you're a conditioned athlete now and you want to push yourself further and use this as a training tool. So when you're considering a vibration plate, just a couple of tips to consider. First, be realistic with yourself. Are you active now? Is it something you've been inspiring to do for 50 years of your life? Very often what you do on a vibration plate, we struggle with because we don't have a big, elaborate exercise for purpose background. So we struggle sometimes with knowing what positions to do to accomplish certain benefits. And a very common one is weight loss. Probably second to that is bone density. And a lot of people don't realize that a lot of the same positions that you use for weight loss, you also use for bone density. Bone density is about weight bearing. Weight loss is about engaging those big muscle groups and the quads and the thighs. So kind of a good 2-in-1 position would be something like a squat. For fitness, you'd want to make sure that you're applying yourself. But where selecting the plate comes in for this is visually look at yourself. Are you 6'6" or are you 5'1"? Are you 450 pounds or are you 110? So weight capacity is one thing to consider. If you it's not necessarily personally how large you are, but maybe you're looking at incorporating some weights into your activity on the plate, and you want to facilitate and make sure that you've got a plate that can handle and accommodate that additional weight capacity. So that's one reason that the plus is one of my faves in my fat disorders group. I have a lot of folks that are struggling with excess weight, a lot of obesity, but I also on the opposite spectrum have larger users that like to add weight and do lots of dynamic movements on the plate. So the Rumblex series have 3 different types of movements. So they've got the oscillating, they've got the lateral, and they've got the pulsation. And each of those movement types require their own motor, their own components. So a lot of the reason that the Rumblex are not only larger and heavier models, there's a bit more of a price tag on them is because there's more going on under the hood. So as you step back to the turbos and the Hoverts where you've got 2 different movements, they're kind of in the middle where, they're not as heavy as the Rumblex series, but they're not as light and what I would consider as portable as maybe the Waver or the Mini. The Waver and the Mini are singular movements. So they are the foundation, the movement that started all of this is oscillating. It's a very natural feeling. It mimics how you walk. And it's got a unique feature that a lot of people don't talk about enough. I maybe talk about too much. But when you're using your plate in oscillating mode, if you widen your feet, you got a lot more action going on. If you bring your feet closer, you reduce the amount of movement, the amount of impact, the intensity. So you're always in control with oscillating movement over how strong the sensation feels based on your hand or your foot placement. On all of the models, when it comes to oscillating movement, the performance is very similar. But if you were to put a micro or a Life Pro Waver Mini beside, the Rumblex Pro, there's a very different presence between the two in size. And, this is something to keep in mind when you're selecting your plate. If you're the type of person that likes doing, lots of weighted, wide squats, you're doing lots of dynamic movement, I would probably recommend leaning towards one of the Rumblex models. Why I recommend the 4Ds, my 2 top picks in the Rumblex lineup would be the Plus and the Max because they have that additional weight capacity. But I also deal with a lot of chronic users, people dealing with all kinds of chronic and acute symptoms. And I prefer being functional in my coaching and my support groups. So a flat plate surface is more going to mimic the floor and it's going to put less stress on hypermobile joints and things like that. For my athletes or my conditioned users that have been using a plate for a while, the curve's going to present a little bit more challenge, a little bit more resistance. Certainly in your leg positions, you'll really notice that. You'll notice those muscles working a little bit harder to maintain and keep you stable. So these are just a couple of tips when you're considering selecting a plate. What else I like about the Plus is it's lighter than some of the other ones. You can't have it all. There is no best plate for every situation. So if you're wanting something portable, you're taking my advice and you're using it multiple times throughout the day, maybe you're managing some aches and pains or some swelling, you're not going to use it very regularly if it's down at the end of the hall tucked away in your bedroom. So a lot of my users like to move it around throughout the course of the day. And if you're dealing with chronic issues, weakness, you're frail, and you don't have a lot of help around the house, you may want to swing back towards the Waver, the Mini Waver. There's some deals on those as well on site. They're going to be lighter. They're going to be simpler in their operation with the single type of movement, more portable, if that's the type of use you see yourself using. So if I had to pick just one plate, I would probably lean towards the plus or the max. I deal with lots of different users, and what you like as far as a movement, features, or programs is really a personal choice. There is no absolute way to cross the finish line. So when you're using a vibration plate, and I get those questions, well, what mode is best for this, or what speed is best for that? That's more related to the positions and the amount of time that you spend, the effort you put in, if it's fitness goals. But the settings over time are just a really great way to mix things up. You don't need to change your exercises a whole lot. We tend to be creatures of habit, but mixing up the settings, the foot positioning from week to week is a great way to keep the body guessing and those muscles adapting to the ever-changing environment that you're doing those positions in. So for deals this week, as far as vibration plates on Life Pose Direct site, my first recommendation is the Rumblex Plus. It does tend to go out of stock from time to time. They were out of stock during Prime Week deals. For those of you that reminded me, a lot of times I'll promote the deals in my groups, and then by the time you go decide and make the decision, it's out of stock. So we are 30% off with a free gift with purchase. All of that will be reflected at the checkout once you get to that point. So please, if this is a model that you've been considering, they've got some inventory now. Maybe it's an early Christmas present for yourself, or if you're considering for someone else and you plan on putting it under the tree, you might want to make sure the inventory is there. So we're going to move on to a couple of other things. I see some talking. Hello. Hello, Stephanie. You love your Rumblex 4D. Stephanie knows the itchiness is proof that it's working, but any way to manage that. Thanks for raising that. The itchiness or the pins and needles sensation that many of you, not everybody, but it is a common when you first start using the machine. It's also common, Stephanie, when people start really wide and go really long. And it's easy to go the full preset 5-10 minutes because that's, what the machine is set for. But you've got a whole lot of circulation, a whole lot of lymphatic movement going on. And as your system, becomes, forced to move all this extra capacity, you feel that itchiness, that pins and needles. Sometimes it feels like you can still feel things moving in the legs after you've done it, or whatever body parts. If you start using it in a new body area, so if you've never done push-ups before and you get down on the ground and you start applying your arms directly to the plate, you'll notice maybe the itchiness is there. It will also happen if you take an extended break. So if you've been using your plate for a really long time and then you take an extended break and you start using it again, you may notice some of that itchiness. The good news is, Stephanie, is it dissipates. Typically within a couple, 3 weeks as things start improving. So consistency is the key. If it's really, really intense and it's something that you can't stand, reduce time and reduce intensity, meaning bring the feet closer to the center. Reduce the amount of movement, how far the muscles and everything in your body is having to react to that movement. Reduce that a bit. If you're dealing with something called MCAS, mast cell activation syndrome, you're dealing with lipedema, lymphedema. There's lots of conditions out there where your lymphatic system isn't equipped on a normal day, let alone when we boost circulation and lymph. So that itchiness can feel heightened. And those with MCAS actually, some, not all, have a heightened heightened histamine response is what it's referred to. I've seen women break out with hives and looks like measles or bumps all over their skin. And that's not uncommon to a new activity or an increase in activity if you're dealing with MCAS. Of course, a vibration plate is just an environment that produces more benefit in less time. So whatever side effects you may have to being active or starting a new activity is just going to happen sooner on the plate. So typically within a week or two, Stephanie, that pins and needles, that itchiness will dissipate. If you've got areas in the body where your lymph system has been compromised, you've had some nodes removed, areas that just aren't as fluid in the movements as they may be in other parts of the body, you may want to give those areas some extra attention, or you may notice heightened pins and needles in those areas as well. The flip side, and thank you for raising this question, I deal with a lot of special needs, pediatric users in particular, and when you're dealing with smaller bodies, when you're dealing with bodies that have a lower body fat, how the body absorbs and how it feels, what the sensitivity is when you're using the plate. It's a unique experience for everyone. So this is part of the reason when people ask me, what is the protocol, what is the setting, what is the amplitude, I can't give you those exact numbers because it really depends on you, your tolerances, and where you're at in your healing or your recovery journey. So the intensity, the itch, for some is not even there. Some it's mild, some it's really extreme, but it does generally tend to dissipate with regular use. So stick with it. If it's driving you nuts, reduce time, reduce intensity. Okay. And you may notice, like I say, if it's something that you're prone to, anytime you pick up your activities, try something new, you might notice a little bit of that pins and needles, that itchiness return as we require our system to work harder. I hope that makes sense. Stephanie says, I just took a break and it's happening again. I need to be more consistent. It's probably one of the most common questions I get, Stephanie. And it's the number one reason a lot of people don't use it. And what I want to say to my chronic users out there, please, 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 you've done a lot of homework typically to get to the point of making the decision, whether it's a vibration plate or a sauna or a massage gun, and you have a poor experience. It's something spooks you, or we kind of have this mentality that it's not for me, or I did something wrong. We all have to blame ourselves. But sometimes the way that your body reacts to whatever the stimulus is different than the guy next to you. Maybe it's different than the people that did it in the study that you're reading. And the downside about studies is that they're actually very small in the range of what's been explored. There's lots and thousands and 5 decades of vibration plate studies, but the vibration plate studies are done by companies that have very specialized, very high performing equipment, and they don't study all of it, because what they would be doing in studying all of it is they would validate that these awesome home machines that Life Pro sells offers a lot of the benefits, most of the benefits, in my experience, all of the same benefits as the medical devices. So why would you go spend $15,000 on a commercial grade when you can get the same benefits in a $300 to $400 Life Pro model? So the research and the studies typically go for a period of time. And what I'm asking for those of you that have had poor reactions or maybe a poor experience and you've had a spook, is don't be deterred, whether it's itchiness, whether it's muscle soreness. More often than not, it's not the machine, it's how you used it. And again, it's not a right or wrong thing, but just like going to the gym, there's a bazillion options to exercise there. There's never one. There's never one exact amount of weights to use. There's never just one type of elliptical. There's never just one type of resistance machine. A vibration plate kind of encompasses a lot of things. And what you need to spend some time doing is understanding what is comfortable for whatever exercise it is that you're doing. But the consistent use, even if it's just a couple, 3 minutes, Stephanie, you'll notice within 3-4 days, the itchiness is not sticking around as much or starts dissipating altogether. But yes, you will notice it if you take an extended break, gone on a holiday, gone for some surgeries. For those of you that have maybe had surgeries, you got scar tissue, you got neuropathy, that's another reason that sometimes that itchiness, that pins and needles can occur, is because there's damage in the area that we're trying to improve. It is not uncommon when I'm working with full-on paralysis that people have sensation in their feet and their legs. Imagine when the body craves something, movement. Movement is something we require. The biology of our body requires us to be active. When we move, lymph moves. And for many of you, traditional activities are just not possible. So a vibration plate from a therapeutic or a medical standpoint gives you the ability to move even when you can't move yourself. That's another whole session, and I've done several on those, but it's simply a tool, guys. I hope that helps, Stephanie. So moving on from the vibration plate, I could talk for days and days. I've been doing this almost 20 years, and there's just really it's so rare that someone can't use a plate with modifications, whether you're coming from a place of surgery, just inactivity, whatever it may be. Be modest in your starting point. So keep those times and the intensity conservative. I'd rather, especially if you're dealing with symptoms, you're trying to manage symptoms, chronic ones, pain, swelling, those types of things, poor balance and stability, use it more often throughout the course of the day in shorter sessions. So if you've got poor balance and stability and you feel things going downhill, or you know you've got to go to an appointment and you just want to be more sure-footed, a minute or two on the plate goes a long way to boosting balance, flexibility, warming up your muscles, boosting circulation, oxygenating you throughout your system. That lymphatic movement I already discussed. Maybe it's a symptom management and a wellness tool long before you get to the fitness. It's a catalyst. It doesn't mean, that for those of you that are inactive now, and you're held back because of that bad knee or that bad spine or whatever it is that you're dealing with, this is simply a tool that makes being active and getting movement easier and kinder on the body, even less impact than walking. So that's my lecture on that. The next one I'm going to move on to, my box is ever deteriorating because I don't think there's a Deb's pick that I haven't pulled this one out. This is the BioRemedy sauna blanket. It is the cheapest of the sauna technologies in Life Pro's lineup, but that's not why it's my favorite. Years ago, I was a sauna snob, and I've always had big box saunas and big fancy dome saunas when I was in my studio. And this was before Amazon and eBay existed. So there wasn't, the mass demand for some of these products because the ideas hadn't been presented yet. What I love about the BioRemedy is it's affordable. There's really very few people that couldn't consider this option, compared to the price of a cedar box sauna, which is also on sale. The big box sauna is on sale. But what I love about it is many of my users lack space and they lack mobility. So the downside of some of the bigger, more traditional saunas is you do lack space. Sitting on a hardwood bench like this, when you've got chronic arthritic issues, or some people don't do so well just sitting still, or some people have claustrophobia issues. I found what I love about the BioRemedy is you can literally just lay on your bed, you can lay on the floor, and once you're done, it rolls up to nothing, and you can simply store it away in a closet, in a drawer. It makes the ability to access infrared technology possible for those of you that lack the space. And again, for those of you that are dealing with poor mobility, range of motion, you can do it laying down, take the stress off the joints, maybe you've got an anti-gravity chair, something of that nature. For those of you that are manual readers, there's a lot of things that Life Pro has to comply to get these things into the country. It's just, we're so regulated in so many ways. Good in many ways, but some of it isn't so much common sense. One of the big things, if you're dealing with a BioRemedy, I just want to caution my owners, make sure that when you're using it, you don't have it attached to 15, 20 extension cords. But if you do need to use an extension cord, I've never had an issue. Make sure that when you are done using it, you let it cool down completely before you fold it up and store it away. Everything's warm. You don't want to kink those wires or stress them because things have been heated up. So just give it, 5-10 minutes to cool completely, and then roll it up before you store it away. Make sure that if you're an experienced user and you've been using it for a while, and I'll admit it, I've done a couple of back-to-back sessions. If you want to use it for longer than an hour, give it a break. There's a lot of components in here. If you're pushing beyond an hour, you're conditioning for something, you're an experienced user, just give the device itself, 5-10 minutes, maybe 15, to cool down, have a breather itself before you do another, 15-30 minutes. And that gives you, it makes me feel as the mom that I've done my diligence and make sure that you're, sometimes when you're in there, it's easier to go longer, but once you've stopped, you realize that you probably did have enough. So just sort of do that mental check before you add additional time. Just a tip on a question I had yesterday with that. The BioRemedy is so popular, it now comes in several colors. It is on sale. If you go into the sale link that I provided, you'll see under saunas, there's a specific link to see the different colors. Also on sale is the next step up. Where's my notes? The Rejuva wrap. So if you wanted to if you like this design, you like the concept of the blanket, or you're looking at upgrading because you've used it and used it and used it and used it, and it's time for something a little bit more substantial. What I found in my house is I began as the user, and now 4 or 5 different people are using it. So the next step up is the Rejuva Wrap. It's a lot more robust in its construction. There's upgraded wiring. It's a little bit more of an investment, but it's going to have a longer lifespan. If you're really enjoying the experience of the Bio Remedy, I think you'll appreciate the step up to the Bio Wrap. It's a little bit heavier. It's going to take a little bit more room to store, but the same basic concept. They're both blankets. One's just got a little bit more upgrades in its construction and its materials. What I recommend with any of these products, especially anything that heats, the first time you use it, if you're sensitive to off-gassing is something everybody deals with when you get something that has plastic or glues. It's the world we live in. But when you heat some of these things up, there's fumes or smells or odors that are released. If you are sensitive to these things, maybe just give it a dry run in a separate room, out in the garage somewhere. Just give it a chance, open it up to off gas, if you will. Cool down completely. You may need to do it a time or two, depending on the device that you're looking at. I often do that with vibration machines. Once they've gone through their quality control checks at the factory, everything's wrapped up, tightened, sealed, shipping straps are put on it, and it's sent over here, and it sits on a warehouse shelf until it's shipped to you. So a lot of times the glues, some of the components, the circuitry, if you're sensitive to this, even my vibration plates, I'll run them for 5-10 minutes on a low to mid speed just to get things moving and working. And if you are sensitive to off gas, that might be another step to take. This isn't a specific to Life Pro. This is an every type of product thing, but you may notice it on your products where there's that heat component. You may notice a fume a little bit more. Just check it out, get yourself out of the area, and let it do its thing. Also on sale in the sauna world is the Rejuva Cure. So the full-sized box sauna is 30% off. This is one of those items, if you are considering or you've been looking at it a long time, now is the time. They have inventory direct with Life Pro. I'm not sure about Amazon. I know the deals aren't as good as at Amazon right now. So check that out. And last but not least, the newest addition to my personal sauna passion, my lineup, is the Zen Zone. If you haven't seen the Zen Zone yet, it is an outdoor, completely power-free. It is as traditional as a sweat lodge can get. It includes a wood stove. It's got a gauge for inside for your temperature and your humidity control. I built a little wood bench, but I would say realistically, if you're using lawn chairs or something, it's an outdoor sauna. You could probably fit comfortably 4 people, as many as 6, depending on how much space you want to lounge around in. And I didn't last long. First few sessions on that one, man, like 5-10 minutes. I was crying. If you look up the old sauna demonstration video I did on that this summer, I sucked it up for 20 minutes, but the door was open and I was like right at the edge. It was awesome. I haven't had such a good sweat since grade 9 camp, when we built one out of tarps and did this as part of our school studies. But I love being in the outdoors, and in the winter, it's a great alternative, not only for something to do with the kids outside, but I'm looking forward to trying out the Zen Zone as an ice fishing tent. So I'll keep you posted and maybe do some video when I do that this winter. We need a little bit more ice, but it is winter here. There's snow on the ground. So the Bio Remedy, the Rejuva Wrap, the Rejuva Cure, and the Zen Zone, all 30% off. Early Black Friday. Act while there's inventory if you've seriously been considering, especially on some of these bigger items. We're getting into that time of year where there's handling potentially issues. Christmas rush is beginning. Everybody else is shopping too. So if you're looking at some of these bigger items, consider time and it'd be nice to be enjoying it over Christmas versus it being delayed in delivery because everybody left their shopping until the 23rd. So with each of those, yes, it's 30% off plus a free gift. Be mindful. Other things I want to talk about today that are some great deals if you've been considering, maybe you're treating yourself. The Dynaflex massage gun is on sale. I don't have that model, but a lot of my therapists use it. It's a great tool. It adjusts where you can pivot the head, so it's like a straight device versus turn it. And it really depends on if you're working as a care provider or applying the tool to someone else. Sometimes it's nice to have that extra leverage. My niece has that model and she likes using it on her ponies and her dogs and those type of things. So it gives her a little bit of a better grip when she extends the handle out. That one's 30% off. Also on sale are the Access Pro compressions. They're the fuller ones that come all the way up to the hips. For those of you that have been considering, the awesome thing, and probably one of the, outside of vibration plates, part of the reason I started loving Life Pro so much back in the day, I love that they offer compression garments. Many of the users in my special needs and my fat disorders group just don't have the diagnosis or they don't have the medical plan to cover compressions of a medical grade, and the price tag is astra-frickin-nomical. It's more expensive than a new Bronco, some of these models. So I understand there's a difference between medical grade and home grade, but many of my members, what I preach is, nobody, the self-care is on you. Nobody's going to do it for you. Even if you don't have a diagnosis, there's things that you can do to stop many of the conditions out there from progressing further. So compression massage is one of the big things a lot of my undiagnosed members use. Even those that are diagnosed, it doesn't mean anybody's going to do the care for you. It doesn't necessarily mean that your plan is going to say, okay, here's 150 grand, go shopping. Many of you, even though you have a diagnosis, you may not have the support of your doctor, or it may not be a prescribed treatment, and you still want the device because you know the relief it's going to bring you. So the Access Pro, any of the air compressions, from a specialist point of view that deals with a lot of medical conditions, I can't say enough about the price point on the Access and a lot of the massage products that Life Pro offers. Don't wait for self-care. It's on you. And the sooner you get started, the sooner you're going to start seeing some relief. So I really, really enjoy any of the compressions. The Access Pros are on, they're the kind of the Cadillac of all of them. And they're 30% off. You'll see that in the tag I offered. For those of you that are doing the plunge, the ice tub, yes, I know you haven't seen me do it on camera yet, but the Norpod ice recovery tub is on sale. If that's up your alley, it's an awesome compliment. Amber's done some wonderful videos on it. It's an awesome compliment to the plate. Any of the technologies that you may be considering, saunas, those type of things, it's a great way. Tons of health benefits associated with it, but it's a dedicated space that you can do your, whether you're throwing snow into or iced water, that is 30% off. The Pacer Mini, I was going to bring it down, but it's still in my daughter's room. She has it in front of her treadmill. In front of her keyboard. I posted a video this summer of her playing and walking. She's so coordinated. But the Pacer Mini, without the handles, it's more of a walking pad. For those of you that are looking for an addition, something to do because you sit too damn much, or you want to stand and keep things moving. The Pacer Mini is an awesome size. It's light enough that I can maneuver it. It does have some wheels if you need to drag it around, but it's an awesome little addition, especially if you're dealing with a small space. I really, really enjoy the Pacer. I'm trying to get my new little Paco dog, my little Chihuahua, liking it, but he's a little bit scared of it yet, so I'll get that tuned out to you later. But I love the Pacer. It's good for children. So for those of you that might be looking for a smaller, compact one for walking, but if you are looking at using it, you want to get your kids more active, or you're dealing with something where there's a deficiency and you're doing some therapy at home, the Pacer Mini is an awesome size for kids. I'd say up to about 12, 13 years of age. It's just the perfect size, fits in their room. You can tuck it under their bed. It's only got a 7.5-inch height profile. Another tool that I did want to show you, and I've been using this more and more and more in my sessions, a great way to boost benefits while using your vibration plate, if you've been watching my more workout and less talking series over the last 3 weeks, is by adding mass to the positions that you're doing on the plate. So the Triform system is a barbell with adjustable weight ends. So you can go upwards on this one of 45 pounds. It also has a kettlebell attachment. So if you wanted to do some single kettlebell exercises, you can turn it into a kettlebell, or you can use it as a barbell. Now, what I love about the Triform system, whether you're doing exercises on the floor or you're doing them on the weight or on the plate, I always use a broom handle for this. A lot of my users just starting out with weights, it's more about getting the technique down before we make it more challenging. But what I love using the weights for, I always have a mirror in front of my plate when I'm doing my positions. And if I'm favoring my bad knee, I look like this. You see how that, you can see the slant? Because when I shift my weight, the bar gives me a good line of sight to see if I'm keeping good alignment in my position, if I'm shifting my weight to one side or the other. But it's also just a really nice add-on to some of the exercises you might be already doing. It's a great way to add mass. I like using it to incorporate some upper body strength while I'm doing my vibration plate exercises. For those of you that have a dedicated space, it's nice and compact. You've got variety. The weights adjust as low as 5, like you said, up to 43, 44 pounds. So it's ample weight for most people without having to, dedicate a whole wall to a weight rack and a whole bunch of things. It switches on the fly. There's just a dial that you push a button and turn. So it's very user friendly. And it adjusts low enough. Many of my elderly users, I'm very proud of you, are taking my advice and starting to incorporate some mass into your exercises. And you don't want to buy 5 or 6 or 10 different things. This is a really good one where it works not only on grip strength just because you're hanging on to it, but maybe you're lacking range of motion or ability to get down and up off the ground to do some direct upper body positions. This is a great way, just sitting in your chair, or maybe you're just standing on the ground, to start incorporating some upper body activity into your day and keep those bones strong, keep that cardiovascular system wrong. I'm not going to lecture you about the benefits of lifting weights or just adding mass to your exercises, but I really have been enjoying the Triform system. It's kind of the one piece I was missing without realizing. I've got kettlebells, I've got a couple of different dumbbell sets from Life Pro, but I've really been enjoying the barbell. I'm finding it's really helping me personally with my positioning. I'm paying more attention to my alignment. I'm really enjoying, it's keeping me accountable and on check, if you will. Okay, so that's some of my faves. Where's my clipboard? What else is happening this week? I had another page of notes. Yes, I haven't talked about light therapy yet. So light therapy, as I mentioned, saunas are light therapy. I've seen a few questions this week. Those of you that are using your devices where the lights turn off when it's at 850, know that infrared is an invisible light. There's no colors with it. Red light is in the spectrum of our visual eye. Infrared is higher. You do not see a color. So when your diodes look like they've turned off, I'm not suggesting staring right into it, but what you may not realize is infrared does not transmit in the form of color as red or the blue or some of the other light spectrums that are lower, more in the 650 range nanomes. Infrared is up in the 850 and above range, so you do not see the spectrum of light. So it's not that your lights haven't turned off, you've activated the infrared. And most of Life Pro's devices, where there's a red light feature, many of them offer infrared as well. So you can use the red light independent to the infrared independent, or you can combine the two. So that's where sometimes when you're switching through those modes, just as a point. So on that note, both of the Aliva Red belts are on sale. I have a next door neighbor that has a torn sciatic, and her shoulder blade, pardon me. Her shoulder has been giving her issues. So she's been using the Pro for the last couple of months. The regular Aliva Red belt is also on sale. And I know a lot of you ask about, well, what's the difference between the two belts? One has a vibration function. One does not. I believe that's the extent of the difference. So that's the difference in price as well. It's a nice to have. Is it a need to have? As far as red light therapy, the belts are virtually the same. They both have red light features. They both have infrared. I love the belt. When I'm sitting at my desk, I like wrapping it around my low back. My new fave that I've been using lately is also on my list. and that's the InfraZen mat. It doesn't have red light therapy, but it does have infrared, and it also incorporates PEMF, pulse electromagnetic field therapy, another type of therapy, very passive. Many of you, if you have not researched PEMF, there's a lot of research, and I think the FDA likes them. They've got some studies for accelerating bone density, so the repair or the growth of new bone cells. So it's a great way to expedite breaks and things like that. But it's a really good pain management tool. I use it to debug from all the electronic devices we get. Similar to grounding, there's lots of ways that you can use it. Also on sale is both the masks. So the VisiCure mask, the Revitaglow mask. They're both a little bit different. Similar in their features, but different in kind of how they fit. The VisiCure goes on more like sunglasses, whereas the Revitaglow is a little bit closer to your face and attaches through the back. So kind of what your preference is. I think I kind of like the VisiCure when I'm sitting up and I'm trying to do other things, and I like the Revitaglow when I'm like laying down. Maybe I like to add that one when I'm using my dome sauna or the blankets. It's a great little add-on for the face. Also on sale is the LumaCure torch. For those of you that are considering red light, what's the difference between a torch and, let's say, a belt or some of the other red light technologies? Treatment time is a big one. So the torches, any of Life Pro's torches, even the mini ones that they've come out, the mini LumaCures, any of these are what I consider a high intensity diode. And all that means is they're more designed for, like, I need relief right now, or I don't have a lot of time to sit here for 30 minutes and relieve my arthritic pain. So the torches are really good for that acute, specific area, short treatment time, up to 5 minutes. I suggest about half of that when you're starting out. They're the perfect little pocket therapist. They can fit in your purse. They've got a long battery life, 3 to 4 hours. I've noticed, and I've taken mine to a few family functions where I still got lots of juice when I come home. More than you should ever need if you're only using it for 3 to 4, maybe 5 minutes at a time. So the pens, the torches are what I consider a short treatment time, higher intensity. Things like the saunas, the red light dome, the blankets, the red light blankets. Many of you are using them for whole body treatment, larger surface area, weight loss. Those things tend to be a longer treatment time, so more like the 15 to 30-minute mark. So the intensity levels are different. Just a good point, but I think you'll enjoy the LumaCure if you are dealing with chronic arthritis, joint pain. You're away from your home during the day and you don't have access to your vibration plate or some of your other tools from Life Pro. The LumaCure is an awesome take with you option, as is a massage gun. The Dyna Mini is a great choice for that. It's on sale. I don't think it's 30% off, but it is in stock. So many of these tools are good complements to the regime, the self-care that you've been doing now. But sometimes you just need to intervene and combine different things to keep the results going. And the deals are definitely there. So my daughter helped me with a sign this morning. We are 30% off and a free gift right now with Life Pro. So if you are considering, you've been on the fence, as I mentioned, especially with some of the bigger items, now is the time. You don't want to be in a situation where you just make the decision, you wait till Black Friday, and they're out of stock. So keep that in mind, especially as the new year and all those resolutions come. There's always a season that's causing Life Pro to be busy and sell amazing tools to you guys, their ever so loyal members. So thank you for joining me today. If you do have questions, I'm here to answer them for you. Stephanie had one about itchiness on her vibration plate. If any others have questions for me, certainly now is the time. If you're watching this on a recorded basis and you did have questions about whether it's about today's deals or some of the technologies that Life Pro is offering, always tag me at Debby with a Y. Sometimes as the conversation and the comments grow, I may miss a notification, but if you tag me, I'll always get the info. I'm seeing the glass, or my glasses reflect this big light I've got here. If you are a new user and you're looking for guidance on how to use some of the amazing tools that you've acquired with Life Pro, always exercise the search function on the top right hand column side of your Facebook page, or if you're in YouTube, and you have a specific condition or a specific topic that you'd like to discuss or have questions about, 9 times out of 10, there's a session there, if not 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. This coming week, I will be celebrating World Diabetes Day on Thursday as another example. So there's many of you dealing with diabetes. I've done a number of info sessions on that. So if there's something specific that's been holding you back from a medical reason, or you're dealing with some type of a symptom and you're just not sure, know that very often with any of the tools through Life Pro, it's just a matter of the approach you take in how you apply the tool for your needs, your body, and your situation. So if you're dealing with sensitivities, if you're dealing with symptoms, more often than not, in many of our sessions, we go over modifications that can be done to any of these devices, whether you're modifying the type of position you're doing on a vibration plate, maybe you're modifying and reducing the time or the temperature on your sauna because you're dealing with a cold or a flu and you're just feeling not yourself. So we are getting into what is called cold and flu season. I will call it vitamin D deficiency season. We're just not outside in certain areas of the world as much as we normally are. Our activities sometimes seasonally change and we become less active in many cases. So a lot of these tools are a great way to keep the activity, the movement going. And if you are, people suffer with all kinds of seasonal disorders. There's lots of ways that these innovative technologies can just help manage those down months if that's what they are for you, and keep the fitness going where maybe you're unable to get outside and take advantage of some of the activities that you normally do in the warmer months. Thank you for joining me today. I look forward to seeing you later this week, as I said, on Thursday for World Diabetes Day. I'm going to do a quick little routine on the plate, and I'm going to show you some of my favorite things to combine with a vibration plate for if you're dealing with diabetes and managing with those symptoms. So thank you very much for joining me today. Thank you for your questions, Stephanie. And I hope everyone enjoys their holiday Monday, and don't work too hard when the work week does get started for you. Have a great rest of the week. Thanks so much for joining me today, guys. I look forward to seeing you later this week again.